try to help Missy fix her GDK installation because she's having some troubles setting it up. And then if we have some more time, we'll do maybe something else. So what's the issue? First of all, you're trying to install GDK using the one-line installation command, right?
That's right. So we did a couple things yesterday, but then this morning I uninstalled ASDF, then reinstalled it using the directions on their official documentation site that you sent me. And then I just ran the one-line installation one more time, and that just finished like 2 seconds before I got on the call. So I haven't looked at what it's erroring on this time, but seems to be something about Ruby.
Okay.
Please install Ruby.
So
I guess I would
So
try.
so what folder are you in currently?
I am currently in just my root here, but then I
Okay, and the
have
last command you ran was
that was the one line
okay,
install.
that was the one line installer, right?
Hmm.
Um, so
it, go on.
what happens if you just hit the one line installer again? I know it's sometimes doesn't necessarily make sense to just duplicate that, but yeah, let's just try that again. Let's see what happens.
All right, so I need to get my URL, which I have over here. This is my fork, so I'll clone with HTTPS, paste that here and continue.
Okay, so GDK has already been bootstrapped. So okay, so it's just simply moaning about
Missing Ruby.
tool versions under there. Yeah.
Maybe it could be enough to just run ASDF install Ruby. I wonder why that's complaining about that version of Ruby since we updated to 2.7.
So specifically inside the let's hop into that folder, GitLab development kit /GitLab. So yeah, cd GitLab. What is tool versions got in it here? So if you just cat .tool versions.
Oh, right, because your fork is very old.
Oh,
Right. So okay, so you're using a personal fork of GitLab.
that's
Okay,
right.
cool. That's absolutely fine. But yeah,
Okay.
so the GDK is probably priming things to install slightly newer versions. So I think let's just do like I think Marco, you mentioned just try the ASDF install Ruby 2.7.5.
Should we try that, or could we try updating the forks master and get it up to date?
You could try doing that too. Yeah. Should we do that?
Because if we do that and that works, you don't have another Ruby version installed. That's basically
Yeah, that's probably a good thing, and it probably also just brings you closer to the main development stream.
So just git
Which
pull
is
here.
so just out of interest, just before you do the git pull, if you just do git log, how old's the fork?
A little old.
Yeah,
September.
yeah. So git pull. Wait, a git pull is gonna pull your current copy of the fork. Do you have a upstream configured at all?
since this was just
No,
set
this
up.
is new. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're probably going to want to add an upstream to the canonical, which you can just grab from.
Okay, that would be this guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so git remote add upstream, and then I can just do this. Does that look right?
Yes. Yeah. Out of interest, random interest, and this is something that many people don't know. Does your GitLab.com user have any association to a paid account anywhere?
It
No.
does not.
Do you use SSH at all?
I can't remember. I think I set it up, but I don't.
Okay,
I
no
don't know,
problem. No
honestly.
problem. If you don't have an association to a paid account, and for whatever reason you use multi-factor authentication and somehow you lose access to your multi-factor authentication, if you have SSH configured, you can recover your account.
Oh,
If you don't, if you have a free-only account on .com and your MFA breaks and you don't have SSH, support cannot recover your account for you. So
I
it's
see.
definitely worthwhile just making sure you have an SSH key configured and have access to SSH.
Okay.
Just as a nice way of making sure that you always have access to your account.
Yeah, I think I'm going to set up SSH too.
Yes, that's
I'm convinced.
it's definitely worthwhile having, because you can actually ask SSH to generate you MFA recovery keys.
Oh,
Oh, that's
It's
nice.
cool.
just a random aside, because
Yeah.
I don't even see HTTPS as a thing, because I've always just used SSH from a Git point of view. I just noticed that you were using HTTPS remotes, so I was like, oh, hold on a second, that rings a bell for
Good
me.
tip.
I also use those.
So now that I set the
You have to fetch.
upstream,
Yeah, so if you just do a git fetch upstream,
Oh, upstream master, because it's going to fetch every branch otherwise.
right, yeah.
oh,
So you want to kill that. Good call.
all right. Good call. Is there a way to check if I have SSH set up?
If you go into your account on GitLab.com, in the top right under references,
Preferences.
SSH keys on the left.
Keep in mind that we can
So
see your screen.
Right.
There should be nothing maybe under this exact one. That's but like Marco
There.
did say, please keep in mind. So you do have a key set up, but whether you still have that key is another story altogether.
Okay, I can regenerate that then.
But yeah, you can always generate a new one and add it, but it's definitely worth keeping.
Okay, now I can get pull upstream master, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, so now if you go back to your home directory and just try to fire the, oh wait, you might want to push that.
Yeah.
This up.
Use force with Liz and skip verification. Otherwise, left hook will take forever.
Oh. I have to do it like this, right?
Yeah, you can also just use -- no -verify. Push.
No dash verify?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then force or force with Liz. That's up to you. And CI skip.
What's the difference between force and force with lease?
If you use force with Liz and someone else has already pushed up some other changes, that's not going to override those changes.
Okay.
It's prevent the push.
Yeah. All right. So in a personal fork, it's probably less of a thing, but if you're using a shared fork like the community fork, then it's probably good practice.
Yeah, it's -O, and then you can leave a space. Basically, -- force, -o
Space, yes. No, sorry. After force a space.
Oh.
And then -o space ci.skip.
Yeah.
Oh, like that.
That's it.
I see. You're confident of it. Okay, that's fine.
Then just to double check, you could go to the web UI to check that your branch is up to date. 18,000 commits behind in 6 months.
That's a pretty
That's a
busy
lot.
repository.
I guess I never pushed that because I would just push to my branch.
Yeah, possibly. So it's maybe just a good idea and good hygiene that if you are working on a personal fork to kind of keep your master fairly up to date. It's also a good reason to potentially look at switching onto the community fork that we're running. So you don't even have to worry about maintaining the fork.
Oh, okay, cool.
But
I
yeah,
didn't realize there was a switch to that.
So it's not official yet. It's something that we've been just trialing over the
Mhm.
last couple of months, but it does seem to be working pretty well. And the idea there is that there's a single communal community fork that allows you to be able to possibly work on an MR and collaborate with other community contributors,
Oh,
which
very
is nice.
cool. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've updated that, should I do the
One-liner again.
liner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's looking a lot better.
Definitely. So in the end, it was ASDF the problem. Because yesterday that we tried to solve this problem, the root issue was the version or the way that ASDF was installed. I don't really know what of the two. Basically, the one-line installation script was complaining about the missing asdf.sh file. So looks like uninstalling and reinstalling ASDF worked.
Yeah, this definitely looks better.
Yeah, in about 10 to 15 minutes. Now it should be ready to go.
Cool. Do you want to switch to the other issue in the meantime and have a look at that while this runs?
Yeah, sure.
If that makes sense, just to make good use of time.
Yeah, staring at a terminal, scrolling down text.
Might not be super fun.
No. So let me first move to the right branch. Okay. Screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yep. So.
Yep.
Okay, so basically, I'm working on the time tracking reports now. And basically, this was something that's Lee started a while back, and I picked up recently. And one thing that Lee exposed on the timelog GraphQL type was the project, because a timelog is associated with either an issue or an MR, and this is basically the project that issue is or MR is coming from. But thinking about the future, I'm not sure this is the direction I'm going to take in the end. But I was thinking about not exposing this field as project, but as namespace, since I know they're going to move. They want to move issues at the group level, so project won't really be the right name. And if we can already provide it as namespace, it won't be a breaking change down the line. So basically,
So
go on.
just on that, and I may be wrong, but namespace refers to a top level group generally.
Yes and no, because
And
project.
anything under that, the idea is to move issues and merge requests and things into something called work items.
Yes, and that's one thing. That's the work item initiative. But I also know that they are trying to move issues to the group level,
Yeah.
and so basically they are trying to unify projects and groups because they're basically containers of other things, and they're moving projects and group to namespaces. Basically, group is already derived from namespace, and the project has a field called project namespace. That's basically a namespace associated with the project.
Yeah.
So what I did,
So if the issue's on a project and you're exposing namespace, what do you get out of that? Do you get the project or do you get the namespace?
you would get the names. Project namespace is basically the same as the project. It's only one thing that they introduced to live with, basically a work in progress.
Cool.
So there's this namespace type, and what I wanted to do was this project. So for now, namespace would be an alias for the project field, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
And let me start my GDK. Status. It's really running.
So this is the working GDK.
Yeah, this is the working GDK. Yes, it should be the working GDK. Let me triple check because I need it now. And come on, okay.
I'm just vocalizing while we wait for that.
Yeah.
Some of the comments that have come up in the pairing channel and Discord while we've been talking. Everett Rowley commented saying he loves watching these GDK sessions because it feels good to know that he's not the only one having problems. So I think that's where it shows how important it is for us to debug these GDK issues in such an open environment, because it helps people to see that, hey, this is a big complex thing we're trying to run, and it's okay if you are having issues, but hopefully the issues aren't massive, and we can solve them relatively easy. Besides Marco's issues, I think Marco does some funny things with his own GDKs. So.
No, that's not true. So current use. My cats are fighting.
As long as they're not fighting around your legs and using your legs as something to hide behind,
No, no.
embed their claws into.
So let me finish to write this query. So this will complain about. Okay. So this is the issue. If I Hey guys. It's like watching. Come on, let's move on. So I now replaced the project with its root namespace. This will get the root group, basically, and this will work. Come on. Okay, so if I try to access the root group, this is working. If I access only the project as project namespace, it's not getting return. It's returning null. And I tried to debug this, and basically the project namespace is not null. And the project neither, because otherwise I wouldn't even be able to get the root namespace. But it looks like the GraphQL middleware is not able to convert the project namespace to namespace type. If we go to check project namespace, this is derived from namespace, just like group.
And that namespace type, where is that namespace type defined? Sorry, I haven't really played too much with the GraphQL aside from fixing your CI bugs.
So namespace type is defined in here.
Okay, so that's a different type as such. So do you? And I'm just thinking out loud here, and I think some of this is where some of my own Ruby/Rails knowledge is probably going to fail me. But is there any sort of casting you might need to do there, or I know that with that other issue we previously had, there was a type that you actually had to put in like quotes there, so it didn't kind of refer to the type, it kind of did a sort of dereferencing somewhere.
Okay. So you mean something like this?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know exactly what that does, but I wonder if that does anything worth.
Also, in the meantime,
this is a great opportunity to put our visual debugging that we figured out last week into
Exactly.
play.
Exactly. So attach with RDBG. I
You not
should.
need to restart your Rails.
Yes, I'm trying to remember if I let me stop sharing my screen for a moment.
How's your install going in the back end there, Missy?
It's still going. It doesn't seem to have hit any issues yet. So far, so good.
That's all positive.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't complain, it's working. Oh, why? Require relative. What? Exec Rails S. Oh, that didn't work either. Why? And this is why we haven't documented this yet. Well, anyway. Yeah, no, we that's still null, so it's not getting. That's not solving the problem.
So in the context of that object there that you're this object that you're referring to, this object is the
Time log.
That's the thing itself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So object.project didn't return, did it?
Object.project works if, well, we can also do this. This is basically the same, but just to make it clear. Update the page so I have the scheme updated. Okay. That's failing. Maybe because of this.
So instead of just humor me for a second, instead of pulling full path from object specifically,
Yeah.
Or from project there, just in your query here, what other attributes are there? Well, that's working now when you're using root namespace.
Yeah, this is now working because of that. But that's still a namespace type, so it should be only fields for bots and groups types should be available.
Yeah.
Actually, from Yeah, for both group and project, because otherwise I would need to is there a group namespace? No, there's not a group namespace because there's the group type, and group type is based on namespace type, and project namespace type. Oh, maybe that's the problem. We might be missing the group names, the project namespace type on GraphQL. I don't know. I'm really a noob on GraphQL, Ruby, and stuff, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah. This is where I think it might have been helpful to have Lee with us today, just specifically for this one.
I actually asked him a couple of days ago, and he said, "Oh, I'm actually having a similar issue."
Great.
Yeah, I guess I will have to. Best way to try to find the solution might be to just open on MR and ask someone from the backend team to give some advice.
Yeah, certainly. There's the types, project types there, but there's also the GraphQL types namespacing. So I'm curious as to the the differences there. But again, I haven't delved into. I've just about used GraphQL as on the other side of actually building GraphQL queries. I haven't actually built any of the GraphQL server side of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, so if you see in the namespace there's definitely some GraphQL types, but those seem to be a little bit more sort of canonical types like string and int, and then the other types.
These are strings, connection types, but
So that project namespace file you've got open, that's just a standard project namespace. That's a model. Then the namespace type you've got open, that's the
GraphQL type.
That's a GraphQL type. So it's possible that you need the project namespace GraphQL type created.
Yeah, that's possible because I think the same is done for issuables, that they can then become issues and merge requests. And you might have to specify on GraphQL that one type can be basically casted from another one. Let me try if I search for issue type.
The issue type, I'm sure, is just going to be. I would imagine it's built as a in the same way, so it's built as a descendant of an issuable.
Yeah, basically that's the same thing because issuable is
There's an issuable type, just about 5 lines, 6 lines, a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Possible types. Yeah, this might be the missing bit.
So maybe just be pushing a possible types into the namespace type.
Yeah, but then there's this result type. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we need that result type. Oh boy.
just rabbit holing this a little bit.
Okay. Notable type. Yeah, that's the same thing. Oh, but I'm afraid this is going to be a breaking change. Because, for example, when you expose issuable on a GraphQL field, then on the query you have to do the ... on and write the query for the types that you want to support.
Right.
This might be a breaking change. And I don't have the project namespace type. Well, I could try to do this very quickly. What was it? Possible types. Okay.
Does your new class at the end require a GraphQL name?
Oh yeah, maybe. I'm gonna add that right away. So the type when project namespace. Project namespace type when group type. Yes.
Do you not want to? What about when namespace return types namespace type?
That's the thing. I don't know if you can do it.
Because you had because root namespace worked, and that is a namespace.
Yes, that's right. But I don't know if this possible types is going to break that.
Right, gotcha.
So project name space type, and just to be sure, I
Just check that GraphQL name on 95. You've got project namespace.
oh yeah, and this is like this. Yeah. Okay, and I might have to expose the type somewhere. I don't remember. Oh, before that, this is a base union. This is a base object. So no, this is the one that I changed. That's the other difference, because this looks like they're all base unions. Yeah, and not objects.
That's a GraphQL schema union.
Yeah. And I don't know what that's going to do. Let's give it a shot. I don't think this will work, but if it works, we're all happy, right?
Magic. Rails magic.
Yeah. Not root namespace, but project namespace. Last chance. well, it compiled.
What it's going to return is another story.
Yeah. Until I see the schema, yeah. Did you mean group?
Well, you got an internal server error.
Yeah.
Doesn't like the types group type. Actually, it didn't mind the namespace type so much, or the project namespace. But is there a GraphQL group type?
Yeah, it's here. Types group type. But I think this might be the issue. You know, the order problem.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's almost a group type descends from namespace type, but now inside that you're referring to group type.
Yeah.
Effectively. So it just could be.
This might be the reason. I hope it is, and I hope it works, but I am afraid not. Well, I think this is a no. Yeah, I think I'm going to create an MR and get feedback from the backend team because I don't really know how to solve this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well be something else because I know that there's some problem with project namespace that sometimes they're not getting evaluated right in the correct way. So, and they're still working on solving that. So yeah, I'm gonna bail out for this time.
No worries. It was good to delve into that a little bit and discuss. I probably need to play in that space a little bit myself to understand a little bit more about that side of things, perhaps.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff to learn.
Yeah.
How did the installation go, by the way, in the background?
I just finished and I think it looks okay. I just ran GDK Doctor and it just says that there's some database migrations that are pending, but other than that, everything seemed to go through.
Okay, that's strange that some migration are pending, but you could try to run GDK update, I guess, just to be sure.
Good idea.
And that's going to take a while too.
Okay. Great. Well, this feels like definite progress. I think it's like almost up and running. So thank you so much, both of you.
Absolutely, no problem.
But I would like to advise you to, once your MRs are completed, merged, and everything, to try and move to the community forks because that's going to be easier, and you don't have to keep your fork up to date manually.
Yeah, definitely. I'll look into that.
Yeah, plus one of the other benefits of working on the community fork is then you don't have to worry about CI minutes that are assigned to your user or your application. Sometimes on a bigger MR, if you're working on a bigger MR or several MRs in 1 month, you can run out of your minutes. Shouldn't be doing that so easily on GitLab projects, but yeah, on the community fork that should be less of an issue. But either way, let us know if you have any issues. Scream out in Discord. Scream out. Just ask for help, and hopefully one of us can be on hand to give you a hand.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm always a little shy to post and ask for help, but every
Don't
time I
be.
do, I
Don't
get
be.
super nice
Yeah.
responses, and everyone's willing to help.
Great.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we can call it a day for today.
Great. Well, thanks
Sounds
everyone.
good.
And thanks
Thanks
everyone
everyone
who's
for
been
playing.
watching.
Yeah.
Thanks. Have
Bye
a good rest of your
everyone.
day.
Cheerio. Bye.